Is the Samsung Galaxy A35 5G worth buying in 2025? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy A35 5G. Now, this device was recently updated to Samsung's One UI 7, which is their latest version of Samsung's take on Android, so that's especially exciting. And since this phone was launched back in March of 2024, the device really has aged nicely. Now, the phone has since gotten a successor, which is called the Galaxy A36, and I have compared this phone to that phone in a separate video, so definitely make sure to watch that if you really want to see the differences between those two devices. Now, before we get too far into things here with the A35 5G, I do want to show you what comes included in the box. Now, this color is called Awesome Lilac, and it's kind of like a pink color, but at the same time, we're getting this cool gradient on the back of the phone as well. So in general, I think it's a really nice looking device, and I like Samsung's kind of unique take on the material on the back of the phone. But as you can see, this is a slim box, and the reason for that is because there is no USB wall adapter included. But you can see in the box, we do have this packet. We do have a SIM card removal tool. We're getting some literature, and then finally we are getting a double-sided USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. But keep in mind, there is no USB wall adapter in the box, which is pretty standard nowadays with Samsung's A series. But what is cool about this phone is that it does support up to 25-watt fast charging, so make sure that you actually have a charger that does support that, so you can actually get those fast charging speeds. Now, one of the things I like especially about Samsung's A series is that even though these devices are meant to be affordable and basically budget smartphones, they still look really nice. And in many ways, this phone looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. Now, as far as the build materials go, this device does have a plastic frame, but on the back here we do have glass, and then on the front we do have Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. So this phone is nice and durable with that durable glass here on the display. Now, in addition to that, this display is 6.6 inches. We're getting a Super AMOLED display here with the phone, so really vibrant colors, great viewing angles as well. And then we're also getting a really fast and smooth 120 Hz refresh rate here with the phone as well. So that's another premium feature that really makes this phone feel especially nice. Now, in addition to that, the display is 1080p. So it's not a 4K display or 1440p, so that is a compromise that comes with the phone in this category, but honestly, it's a great looking display as it is. And also with this display being as large as it is, that's excellent for watching video content because you can really see a lot here on this giant canvas. Now, beyond that, we are getting a PPI of 390 with the phone. We're getting a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, so a narrow but tall form factor. And then finally, we're getting an 84.8% screen to body ratio. Now, one of the things I like about this phone is that we're getting very small bezels around it. Now, the bottom bezel does appear to be just slightly thicker than the other bezels, but for the most part, we're getting pretty much symmetrical bezels all around the device. Now, you can still, of course, see a little bit of the bezel, but I really think this phone has a great look to it. We are getting rounded corners, which typically I'm not crazy about, but I feel like in this instance here, it actually looks nice and they did a good job with it. They didn't go overboard, making it super rounded like the Pixel series, but at the same time, the phone still looks uniquely like a Samsung product. Now, up top here, we do have a hole punch for the front-facing camera, and that front camera is 13 megapixels. And then this phone is offered in different storage configurations, but this version of the device does come with 128 gigabytes, and then along with that, we are getting micro SD card expansion. So 128 gigs for a budget phone is really solid as it is, but the fact that you can add in an SD card to further expand that storage and maybe offload photos and videos, for example, from the internal space here on the phone definitely adds a bit of value here to the device. So I'm glad there is SD card expansion, and that's certainly a feature that we really can't even find nowadays with flagship smartphones, and we're seeing that less and less with mid-range and budget options as well, which can be a bit frustrating. Now, this device does not have wireless charging, but we do have an in-display fingerprint sensor, and it's actually very fast and responsive. So there we go, let's try that one more time. So that works really well, and in addition to that, we are getting Face Unlock with this device. Now, on the back of the phone, we're getting a triple camera setup, so there's a 50 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and then a 5 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. Now let's head over to the camera app and I'll show you how those various cameras look. But you can see right now, this is with the main rear camera. Now, by default, it doesn't actually capture photos at the full 50 megapixels. As you can see up here, it does say 12M, but if you tap on that, it will then switch it over to 50M, and then from there you can take those full 50 megapixel images. Now, the reason why that's not the default is because the photo sizes are really big when you take them in 50 megapixels, and Samsung assumes that for most users, they're not necessarily going to want that all the time, but at the same time, for certain situations, it is there for you. So I'll show you the image right now that I took at 50 megapixels. And you can see just how rich and vibrant the image is. So we're getting excellent colors, but then also a lot of detail. You can see how far I can zoom in here and really get a lot of detail from that plant. So I think this just shows that even though this device is meant to be an affordable smartphone, you really aren't compromising a whole lot when it comes to the cameras. You're still getting plenty good camera quality here with the device so that you can go on vacation and take great looking images and then save those memories for the future. Now then from there is a button for 2, so 2x zoom. But keep in mind, this is simply a digital zoom. But since the main camera is 50 megapixels, that certainly helps make the digital zoom a lot more effective. We can also go over to 0.5 for the dedicated ultra-wide camera. And then with that ultra-wide camera, we can fit a lot more content into a single frame here. And then over on the More tab, we can access the macro camera. And then with macro, we can get really close up and have things be in really good detail. So that is useful in certain situations. But to be honest, I don't use it a lot myself. Now we can go to portrait mode and get those nice blurred out backgrounds. You can even adjust the blur strength. And there's other customizations you can do here too. Well, these are kind of the standard customizations for cameras, but you can see there's some smoothness options and other things here as well. It's really just a lot of different camera features on the device. We can flip around to the front-facing camera, and there's me right there. So there's also an option for group selfies, so it crops out slightly. And then heading over to video, we have 4K video for the front-facing camera, and then we have 4K video at 60 FPS for the rear camera as well. So definitely nice that they're not really making any compromises, at least when it comes to the video resolution and the camera features that we're getting in general. Now with this device, we're getting 8 GB of RAM paired up with the Samsung Exynos 1380 processor. Now my experience with this device with that processor has been really good. This phone runs nice and smoothly, as you can see, and even when setting up the device, that whole process was really smooth. The phone didn't get hot or anything like that. It wasn't lagging, even out of the gate. So things just got better and better from there. So definitely a big fan of that processor, and I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 6, and I'll show you the scores in that test right now. But I got a single core score of 1008 and a multi-core score of 2985. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone, and then compare your scores to these scores to see if the A35 5G is actually a performance upgrade for you, because this phone could be slower than what you currently have. So at least the benchmark tool kind of helps give you an idea of what to expect here. Now with this device, we're getting a very large 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery. And along with that, like I mentioned earlier, we're getting 25 watt fast charging. So that's a great combination, because not only are we getting a big battery, which will allow the phone to last for a long time without having to be recharged, but in addition to that, you can also recharge it very quickly. So 25 watts, that's not necessarily the fastest out there at this point, but at the same time, that is still decently fast, and especially for a budget smartphone. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this phone has been updated to Samsung's One UI 7, which is based off of Android 15. Now, I really like One UI 7. I feel like this is what has really taken Samsung software to the next level. It looks super clean. Everything is very well optimized. We're getting a lot of different features throughout the device, more than I can really even show you in this video, of course. But really, One UI 7 is a great upgrade. So the phone will be getting many new versions of Android into the future as well, but I'm just glad that it does already have One UI 7. And then with this device, we are getting NFC, so you can use the phone for tap and pay. It does feature an IP67 dust and water resistance, which means the phone can go underwater for up to 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. And then we are getting stereo sound with this phone. So we're getting audio out of both the main speaker, but also the earpiece too, which does give you a more immersive audio listening experience. Now taking a look at the hardware of the phone, I already talked about the materials, but on the right side here we have volume up, volume down, and the power button. You can see also this little part of the side of the phone kind of sticks out a little bit, kind of a cool design cue, makes it a little bit more unique compared to your typical kind of boring smartphone, I suppose. On the left side of the device, we have nothing. Up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone, along with the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. And then on the bottom of the phone, you can see we have the microphones, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the main speaker. And it seems like Samsung's A series overall is moving towards the direction of completely ditching the headphone jack. So it is unfortunate. I know a lot of people that watch my videos really like the headphone jack, but there is none here with the device. Then on the back of the phone, like I mentioned, we got the glass back, we've got the triple camera setup, flash, Samsung logo, and that's pretty much it. So in conclusion, I still really like the Galaxy A35, and I think this phone is still a very worthy option in 2025. The main reason is that Samsung is continuing to support this device with new software updates, including the big One UI 7 update. So I'm really glad that's here, and it does make this phone even better than it was when it was brand new. But if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. This is Kevin here. This is the Galaxy A35 5G, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.